Like the black Jews in America, some of the Jews of Ghanaian don't remember their original nationality.
Right.
This deplorable ignorance is attributed to various causes.
Right.
The fall of the Hebrew kingdoms.
The what?
The fall of the Hebrew kingdoms.
Go ahead.
The lack of communication with Jewish educational centers.
Go ahead.
Intense persecution and deliberate blotting out of the mind their true nationality. If you deny your religion,
right,
you will eventually deny your nationality.
Are you hearing this, brothers and sisters? And this is the point that we're trying to make, and we're going to bring this out. That it's more so a war on your religion. It's more so, listen, we're Israelites, we don't deal with religion. We understand that the word religion comes from a Latin word religio, which means to hold back and restrain. Okay? So we're not talking about necessarily religion, but the fact in the worshipings and the law keeping of the Jews, it was a war against that. And we're going to bring that out, and nature knows no color line to prove to you that it's okay if you are a black person. But if you're a black person that's trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then you're an enemy. And then the war was on the faith of Israel. That's what the war was on. Read it again, brother.
If you deny your religion, you will eventually deny your nationality.
Go ahead.
The psychologists and the psychologists and psychologists know, and history has proven, that if you deny your culture and nationality over a long period of time, you will totally forget it through the process of assimilation.
See that, brothers and sisters? And this is everything that we're saying. And so here it is, a video is being put forth to bring out certain history, but you have left out the one important group of people that ever lived. You've left these people out. Okay? And these people are the children of Israel. And we have a voice, and we're going to say no more. We're going to stand up for who we are. We're not going to let what we just read happen to us. We're not going to let go of our customs. We're not going to let go of our history. We're not going to let go of our laws, statutes, and commandments that was given to us by Moses, to us through Moses. Okay? No. We're going to put on our garments. We're going to put on our fringes. We're going to keep our customs. We're going to rehearse the righteous acts. Okay? We're going to do that. And let me tell you, those who don't want to do it, it's okay. Okay? Because the Bible also speaks of you. Okay? So we're speaking to those who really want to know who they are for real. Not know we're going to lump everybody that's black all up in one pile and then feel good about that. No. Okay? Because you can't give you can't give the glory of Egypt. You can't give that glory to the Ethiopians. You can't give the Ethiopians glory to the Libyans. And they're Africans. They're what you would call the natives of Ham, sons of Ham. But we're not sons of Ham. We are sons of Shem. Okay? And we want the credit that's due to us and due to our forefathers. Okay? At least mention us. That's the least you can do. But you don't want to mention us. Why? Because what we just read. You want the assimilation of our people. What we just read over here. You are the enemy of our people. And if you don't want to bring this information forth, it proves that you're the enemy of our people. Bring it out, brother.
However, considering this matter, he decided to Christianize the Jews. Fearing the loss of valuable population, he wanted the continued use of their knowledge and services. He concluded that the only way the Jews can be tolerated in his country was to force them into Christian faith.
See that? And this is what we're going against. Now, I know you Egyptologists and you black power brothers have already rejected Christianity, and that's good. But what you haven't accepted is who you are. And why did you go into slavery? Answer that question. Ain't no, oh, brother, it's just some greedy people that was around. They was just greedy. No, ain't no greed. Okay? The Heavenly Father's in control of everything, and he wouldn't let a people go into slavery if it wasn't under his will. Okay? Because you don't control nothing. Okay? Bring it out.
At this time, many Jews became Christians out of fear.
Out of what?
Out of fear.
Out of love?
Out of fear.
Out of brotherhood?
Out of fear.
Out of equality?
Out of fear.
Read.
Many of them were known as secret Jews,
Good.
practicing Judaism in secret under the guise of Christianity.
Right. And see, that's the one thing that you should feel blessed for, Israel. You don't have to be a secret Jew. You can come out and you can stand up and put your fringes on and put your borders of blue on and tell the people that, and speak this truth. But at this time, you couldn't do that. And guess what? It's going to come a time again where a certain level of persecutions are going to come up on you. You ain't going to be able to stand out on these corners. Okay? Read.
According to biblical prophecy, the black Hebrews were supposed to have gone into slavery and captivity. Thus we read of the prophet Jeremiah saying, Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude she dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits.
See that, brothers and sisters? And this is what happened to us in the land of Africa. The Arabs and the Hamites and the Edomites joined together. Where do it tell us this? In Psalms 83? Okay? It tells us in Psalms 83. The Bible is the greatest book on the planet. Okay? But you don't want to hold to the book because you got a problem with order. You don't want law. You don't want nothing that's required of you. Okay? But yet you're standing up and you're telling brothers that they need order. You telling brothers that they need to get their finances together and they need to do this, that, and the other. But yet you don't want to accept what the Heavenly Father, the one who created you. Okay, I ain't talking no Allah. Okay, I'm talking Yahweh, the Hebrew Israelite King. Okay, I'm talking about the God of Israel. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, and you need to examine what's going on and understand it. Are you under delusion? Find out if you're under delusion. How can you do that? Go to your teacher and ask him who you are and see if he tell you you're a Hebrew Israelite. He ain't going to tell you that. He's going to tell you it doesn't matter. Okay? He's going to tell you it doesn't matter.
In the Babylon Timbuktu, chapter 4, the original black Jews.
Listen at this, brothers and sisters. The original what?
Black Jews.
Go ahead.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob.
Hold up. Those people are black?
And the 12 tribes of Israel were all black people.
Read that again. Read that again.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and the 12 tribes of Israel were all black people.
Okay, we're all black people. This is what we're bringing forth, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
This I shall prove to you by a gradual method.
Right.
After Joseph was sold down into Egypt as a slave, we find in the 42nd chapter of Genesis that he had become viceroy of Egypt.
Right.
Joseph's 10 brothers came into Egypt in Africa to buy corn because of the famine was in the land.
They came in Africa?
Yep.
Go ahead.
All newcomers who came into Egypt had to buy corn from Joseph.
Right.
But when Joseph's 10 brothers came to Africa, they did not recognize him.
Now you need to really examine this, brothers and sisters. I mean, this is utterly ridiculous that we got to pour this out. We got to tell you, we got to prove to you that the Egyptians was black. I mean, that's just utterly ridiculous when you can look on the walls, on the paintings on the walls in Africa and see that they're black people. If you understood that and accept that, then you can understand that Joseph was black. And the 12 tribes of Israel was black. And Jacob was black. Abraham was black. Go ahead.
They did not recognize him because Joseph had grown up and the Egyptians were a black people like the sons of Jacob.
Go ahead.
Jacob's 10 sons considered Joseph to be another black Egyptian.
See that? They mistaken their brother. You can find this in the Bible. Okay? They mistaken their brother as just another Hamite. Go ahead.
We know this to be true because the 10 brothers returned and reported to their father, the man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us.
Right.
Furthermore, if Joseph had been white, he would have aroused the curiosity of his brothers very rapidly.
Listen, brothers and sisters.
We really do not need any more proof that the Israelites were black.
What? Read that last part again.
We really do not need any more proof that the Israelites were black.
Go ahead.
But for the sake of argument, I will offer it.
See that? The brother's doing an excellent job of proving to you that the children of Israel were people of color. That it?
In many places in the Bible, we find the sons of Jacob,
right,
and the later Israelites.
And the later what?
Israelites.
Go ahead.
Taking black Canaanite women for wives.
Go ahead.
If the ancient Israelites were not originally black, they would be after the intermingling with black Canaanite men and women.
Right. See that? So, you know, that's just proving, brothers and sisters, that the Bible lets us know who we are, and the enemy are the white man. I ain't gonna say the white man. I'm gonna say the Edomites. Edom. The ones at the very top, brothers and sisters. Let's not get simple, okay? The ones at the very top have put forth an effort to keep this information from us. And these brothers, even though they're attempting to re-establish our history, they have missed a critical part. And what part is that? The Israelite part. Okay? So once you establish that part and you tell me who those people are, then we can have a discussion, okay? But if you don't know who the children of Israel is, you're in trouble. Because the Bible tells us about the 144,000 that's going to come from the 12 tribes of Israel that's going to lead this nation. If you don't know who they are, how are you going to follow? Okay? That's it. Okay, we're going to pick this thing right back up. We got to continue on because the information that we're bringing forth is tremendous at this point. Because this video, the one problem that we have with this video is there's no mention of Israel. Nowhere. I mean, listen, it's tons of historical information proving that the children of Israel was in the land of Africa. And you doing a historical study on Africa, and you don't mention the children of Israel. You don't mention Timbuktu, the greatest civilization, one of the greatest that ever was in Africa, which was spearheaded by the Hebrew Israelites, the real Jews. Let's pick this thing back up. Where you at, brother?
2 Chronicles 9, verse 22.
Go ahead.
And King Solomon passed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom.
Wait a minute. See, and then you want to give credit. You want to give credit to all these other nations. You want to give credit to the people outside this book to try to discredit this book. But the book says that our forefathers, one of them, Solomon, did what?
Passed all the kings of the earth.
He passed all the kings of the earth. Go ahead.
In riches and wisdom.
Okay, in riches and wisdom. Why wouldn't you want to celebrate this guy? Okay? Why wouldn't you want to go get the history of this guy and find out who this guy was? And let's see who his descendants was. His descendants was the 12 tribes of Israel. So you should really examine the information when it's a particular blackout on a whole group of people. When there's tons of information proving that we was in Africa. What you got, brother?
Babylon Timbuktu, page 107.
Babylon Timbuktu. Go ahead. Tell them the page.
Page 107. Babylon Timbuktu.
Go ahead.
About the Western Moors and the Hebrew Israelites. The prophet Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 18, says the 5 cities in Africa will speak the language of Canaan.
Wait a minute, let's get that out of the Bible. You get yours. Find that. What is it? Isaiah 19 and 8. We're just going to read it for you out of the Bible, just to parallel with this, so you can see that it's saying the same thing. Real quick.
Timbuktu.
Right. What is it? 19 and what?
18.
19 and 18?
Yeah.
19 and 18. Bring it out, brother.
In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan.
See that, brothers and sisters? That's proving what? That the children of Israel was in Egypt, and we was going to speak the language. What language?
We should not forget that the Israelites have been engaged in commercial enterprises, activities, and migration since Solomon's treaty with the Phoenicians. Shalaki. The Phoenicians established their metropolis, Carthage, in the 9th century BC.
The Phoenicians established what?
Their metropolis, Carthage, in the 9th century BC. Eventually, they conquered the neighboring tribes of Libya and to the Atlantic Ocean, disseminating their Hebrew Phoenician language and culture in every direction. The Hebrew Phoenician language and culture was invigorated and strengthened by the deportation of the migration of energetic black Hebrews from Palestine.
Energetic black what?
Hebrews.
See that, brothers and sisters? So what it's saying here is that the children of Israel, as they started to flee from the land of Israel, and as more and more began to come in Carthage, what happened?
Ptolemy, sorter of Egypt.
Now go back where it picked up where I said that.
Carthage.
Yeah.
Ephesians, go ahead.
The Ephesians established their metropolis Carthage in the 9th century BC.
Go ahead.
Eventually, they conquered the neighboring tribes from Libya to the Atlantic Ocean.
Right, read on.
Disseminating their Hebrew Phoenician language and culture in every direction. The Hebrew Phoenician language and culture was invigorated and strengthened.
Listen, invigorated right here.
Go ahead.
And strengthened by the deportation and the migration of energetic black Hebrews from Palestine.
See that, brothers and sisters, coming from the land of Israel. Proving without a shadow of a doubt that the children of Israel migrated into Africa. And you're going to do a historical documentary without mentioning the children of Israel. And we take offense to that. Okay? Why? Because if they wasn't there, then we're not here today. Then who are we? We running around here chasing after Egyptian gods and whatnot. No, we're gonna code to our forefathers. And if we don't know who we are, you're in trouble. Read.
Ptolemy, suitor of Egypt, conquered Syria and Phoenicia, deporting more than 100,000 Hebrews.
Deporting what?
More than 100,000 Hebrews.
Turn that down just a touch. Deporting 100 what?
100,000 Hebrews.
Go ahead.
The Persian king Cambyses had previously sanctioned the colonization of Hebrews in Egypt.
See that? The colonization in where?
Of Hebrews in Egypt.
But wait a minute, brothers and sisters. The Hebrew Israelites wasn't in Egypt. According to this documentary, they wasn't in Egypt. Read.
During the wars of the Maccabees.
And during the wars of the Maccabees. Read.
Thousands of Hebrews became slaves.
Hundreds.
Thousands of Hebrews became slaves.
Thousands of Hebrews became slaves. Now, this is not talking about when Moses was leading the people out, brothers and sisters. This is after 70 A.D. This is after the destruction of Israel with Vespasian and Titus. Okay? By the Romans. Who did it? The Romans. Why? We're going to bring this information forth with these extra doctrines. We got a book here called From Nature Knows No Color Line that we're going to pull from. Okay? By J.A. Rogers. Okay? And we go into the history and we go into the research on these things to pull this information out so we can prove everything we're saying, not just to be talking. And we're prepared to debate anybody. We'll debate anybody. Why? Because we have the evidence at our fingertips. Okay? Read.
Thousands of Hebrews became slaves and exiled. Ptolemy Lathyrus captured 10,000 slaves from the region of the Sea of Galilee.
Right.
The kings of Egypt,
The kings of what?
The kings of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Ptolemy the first and the Ptolemy the second used Israelite garrisons of the Egyptian borders near Libya. The wars with Rome compelled hundreds.
The wars with who?
With Rome compelled hundreds of thousands more to escape into North Africa.
Did you hear that, brothers and sisters? This is the evidence that we've been waiting for. This is the evidence proving that you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be unknown of who you are. What is this book saying?
The war with Rome compelled hundreds of thousands more to escape into North Africa.
See that, brothers and sisters? Into North Africa. We were there. And it's not okay to do a history on Africa and leave out the children of Israel. Okay? And leave out the real Jews. Why? Because we were there and we established communities and we built culture centers. And not only did we build these things, we were the greatest on the planet. They came from all over the world to our councils and our events, trying to learn knowledge. The capital of knowledge was Timbuktu, brothers and sisters. A Hebrew established nation. Read.
During the Punic Wars and after, North Africa contained a large Hebrew population.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Read that again.
During the Punic Wars and after, North Africa contained a large Hebrew population.
So if this is the case, why didn't you mention this? Is it because you didn't know? Or is it because it's a war on our identity? Whose? The children of Israel. It's a war on our identity. So we as Hebrew Israelites, we're going to take up the banner. We're not afraid of anyone, okay? Truth will stand no matter what.
That's right.
Go ahead.
This Hebrew population made converts and intermarried with the Canaanites and the native Africans.
Right. Hold that. Now let me get John's 8 and 32 real quick.
Let's go right over to page 108.
Okay. So now we're gonna actually establish names that you know about. And we're going to point to these countries and we're going to see who established these countries, brothers and sisters. You there? 832. We're going to establish the names and find out what people was these nations established by Africans or was these nations established by Hebrew Israelites? Go ahead.
John 8 and 32.
Go ahead.
And ye shall know the truth.
You shall know what?
Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
See that, brothers and sisters? And this is what the truth is. The truth is the information that we're bringing forth, we're going to bring it to you on a historical level. We're going to bring it to you not only biblically, but historically. Okay? And using the archaeology and the historical facts that other elder brothers have put together already before you. You need to start going buying your books. And so you can prove these facts. Where you at, brother? Call and read it out.
Timbuktu, page 108. And we, Hebrew writers, we who write and feel in our biblical tongue, have recognized at once that this recalled Phoenician language is nothing more nor less than Hebrew.
Read that again.
And we Hebrew writers, we who write and feel in our biblical tongue, have recognized at once that this recalled Phoenician language is nothing more nor less than Hebrew. Okay, so what's going on here is let you know that it was Hebrew. So it was Hebrew-speaking people who established Carthage. Brothers and sisters, and it became greater as the migration of the Jews or the Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah and Levite and Benjamin, as they started to migrate more and more, Carthage became stronger. Read. A pure Hebrew dialect, nearly the same as was spoken in the country of Israel. Nearly the same, which is another parallel with Israel. Read. The population of Carthage was derived from Palestine, and its civilizations was Arabic.
Read that again.
The population of Carthage was derived from Palestine.
The population of Carthage was derived from Palestine. See that, brothers and sisters? Proving that Carthage was a Hebrew Israelite established country. Read.
And its civilization was Arabic in origin.
Right.
Sloshes is certain after much research that the language Hannibal spoke and in which he directed his troops was Hebrew.
It's proven that Hannibal was a Hebrew Israelite. See that? But they didn't bring this information forth. Carthage, Northern Africa, brothers and sisters, they're dealing with this. Read.
There is evidence that the Carthaginians possessed a high priesthood, and their ceremonies and sacrifices were similar to the rituals found in the book of Leviticus. According to the same inscriptions.
Something that showing another parallel with the priesthood and the priesthood of the Levites. Read.
The Hebrew tribes of Asher and Zebulun were in Carthage from the foundation of the city. At the ruins of Carthage were excavated many inscriptions containing many Hebrew names such as Joab, Joaz, and Joel.
See that, brothers and sisters? Proving that archaeology now has established that we were in Africa. We have established that we were there. Read.
Salaki. The city of Tunis is said to be neither Arab nor European.
Right.
Tunis is a Jewish city.
Tunis is a what?
A Jewish city.
See that, brothers and sisters? Now, we didn't really need to examine these things. Read.
Nowhere else does the Jews feel at home as he does in Tunis. Sloshes says, so beautiful. And indeed, Tunis, the inheritor of Hebrew Carthage, is the eternal city of the Jews.
The eternal city of what?
Of the Jews.
Proven without a shadow of a doubt that we were there. And these people spawned off into another people. And then they broke off into another people. All stemming from the children of Israel. Proving that Hannibal was a Hebrew Israelite. He spoke Hebrew. Okay? These are facts. We were separate from the Africans. And we're going to bring it out. Read.
Now we go over to page 109. Mohammedans from Morocco united with the black Jews.
Go ahead.
In less than 100 years, the black Arabs had pushed their way completely across North Africa.
Wait a minute. Black Arabs? What are you talking about, brother?
The black Arabs had pushed their way completely across North Africa.
See, excuse me, brother. If you don't know about that the Arabs was originally black people, if you don't know that those that say they're Arabs now are Turkish babies, stemming from the Ottoman Turk line, which are the rulers, which are nothing no more than Esau. Okay? Because why? Because this is Esau's rulership. It tells you in the Apocrypha that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the leader of the one that followed. Okay? So, you must know about the Ottoman Turks. Do your research.
At this time, the Arabs were black. They had not mixed much with other people. The Arabs did penetrate into the interior of the Sahara Desert, but only in small numbers, so that the territory remained basically African. Muley Idris, the descendant of Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, brought northern Morocco under his control late in the 7th century.
So you have to understand that it was a certain level of control and persecution that went on. Why? Because the Bible says you will serve other gods, both what? Wood and stone. So this was the beginning of the stone worship of the Hebrew Israelites that will stand and will spawn off into the Moors and spawn off into the Western Islam. And if you know your history, there's a difference between Western Islam and Eastern Islam. Why? Because the Eastern Islam is controlled by the Ottoman Turks. Okay? And the Western Islam are Hebrew Israelites that was turned to the faith of the religion of Islam. why? To divert persecution. And we're going to read it. Pick it up right there.
His son and successor was Idris II, who found the kingdom of Fez.
Right, pick it up at this time.
At this time, in the land of Spain, the black Jews were persecuted.
The what?
The black Jews were persecuted.
The book says, by Shema Mashiach Yahushua, the book says that the black Jews was persecuted. Read.
And many had fled to Morocco for refuge.
Right.
That's proven that the Jews was in Morocco. Read.
As a result of this persecution, the Jews of Morocco and the Moors planned to invade Spain with the assistance of Spanish Jews.
Now, why would the Moors and the black Jews join together? And we know that the Moors are black. The Moors and the black Jews join together because the Moors are Israelites. See, and the problem is over here in America, we got a group calling themselves the Moors, okay, and they're holding to a demonic religion. Why? Because you're not following the God of Israel. You're following in this. When we was in deception, when we was under Islam, and we was trying to divert persecution. See. Finding out you an Israelite will get you killed. So in order for you to stay alive, they never told you that you was a Hebrew Israelite, so you can keep your life. Okay? But now the truth is here. Read that again.
John 8:32.
Uh-huh.
And ye shall know the truth,
uh-huh,
and the truth shall make you free.
uh-huh,
In the meantime, the plot was uncovered,
uh-huh,
And the Jews of Spain suffered for their intentions.
They did what?
Suffered.
See that, brothers and sisters?
So it said that they suffered. Suffered what? Let's find out.
Early in the 8th century, of Mohammedans from Morocco, united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious land at Gibraltar.
Right.
This invasion was successful. Nahan Salah says that the first one to set foot on the soil of Spain was General Tarif, a Jew of the tribe.
A what?
A Jew.
A what?
A Jew.
Spell Jew.
A Jew of the tribe of Simeon.
By Shema Mashiach Yahushai, okay? Proving that we were there. Now let's move on. Proving that we were there. Okay? Yeah.
Black Moors?
Yeah. Well,
the Black Moors ruled over parts of Spain for more than 700 years.
where does it say that?
Page 110.
Yeah, bring it out.
Page 110. The Black Moors ruled over parts of Spain.
The black what?
Moors.
Now I know this is not a debate about the black Moors because it's a group here in America that calls themselves the Black Moors. Okay? The history of the Moors is important. Why? Because they done a number of work in Europe and they established a lot in Europe. But the thing is, Moor is nothing more than a color. That's not a nationality, brothers and sisters. That's not a nationality. That was another proverb and byword that you can find in Deuteronomy 28 that tells you that will be placed upon who? The children of Israel. So I will really, if any more happen a chance to watch this video, I would love to sit down and talk to you about it and make these particular connections because the Moors was established and started by Israelites. And the Moors are Israelites. Okay? Right. If there was not Israelites, you would know what their African lineage is. See that? You would be, because they would tell you, listen, we spawned from Egypt. We spawned from the Ethiopians. They don't spawn from any of them. They spawn from the children of Israel. Read.
The Black Moors ruled over parts of Spain for more than 700 years.
For more than 700 years. You had Septimius Severus, and you had the rise of Constantine. See, we have these books. Okay? You have Septimius Severus and the rise of Constantine, brothers and sisters, which was the conversion from Islam, which was the conversion from, because it was a war between the Christians, the pagans, the Christians, and Islam. Okay, When Constantine decided not to be a pagan anymore, he picked up the customs of Christianity and created the custom of Christianity. And then that's when the Christians and the holy wars began. See that? You got to know the history and be able to connect the parallels, brothers and sisters. This is how it started. Because the Moors were Islam. Okay? What you got, bro?
Sit on that.
He brought 15,000 black troops with him and defeated Alfonso VI with his 70,000 Christians.
Read it when the Moorish power was.
Okay. When the Moorish power was declining in Spain, Yusuf crossed the Mediterranean into Spain in order to reinforce Moorish control.
Right.
He brought 15,000 black troops with him and defeated Alfonso VI with his 70,000 Christians at the greatest commander, the hero.
It is bringing it out, right? It is bringing it out. This is how it started. It said during the end of the Moorish reign, they started warring with who? The Christians. See that? Read.
Christians at the Battle of Zalakah. During the wars of the Almoravids, the greatest commander and hero of Spanish literature was slain. His name was Rodrigo Diaz de Bivar, better known as El Cid.
Okay, yeah, pick up right there. The next page over there.
There were many page 111. There were many famous Moorish and Hebrew scholars.
There was many what?
Many famous Moorish and Hebrew scholars.
More and Hebrew in the same sentence. Huh?
In southern Spain.
In where?
Southern Spain.
Go ahead.
The black Jews.
The black who?
The black Jews.
Go ahead.
Like the Arabs and Moors, made a great contribution not only to Afro-Asian civilization.
Now, it said the black Jews, like the Arabs and the Moors. Why is it a separation between Moors and the black Jews? What separated them, brothers and sisters, was religion. Religion is what separated them. The Moors were Israelites following Islam. That's what the Moors were. Read.
But also to the European. The Jews in the East knew Greek and Syriac.
The Jews where?
In the East knew Greek and Syriac. They helped translate the works of the Greek philosophers into
the
Arabic.
Jews helped translate.
The Greek philosophers into Arabic. In turn, these works were studied by the Arabic-speaking Jews of North Africa.
Of what?
North Africa.
Showing that we were there. Go ahead.
And Spain, and translated into the Hebrew. The black Jews of the Moorish kingdom of Spain translated these works into the Latin tongue, or the Latin language. And from Spain, the science of the Greeks and the Afro-Asian people were transmitted to Western Europe.
Done. Showing that the line of education, brothers and sisters, the line of education was established by the Hebrew Israelites. What did you read about King Solomon? It said he did what? Surpassed everyone on earth in wisdom and money. Okay? Wisdom and riches. King Solomon, okay? Now you want to try to, listen, it's no history on this earth. Listen, let me boast a little bit, okay? It is not necessarily a boast. I'm only telling you what the truth is. The greatest history on earth is the Hebrew Israelite history. That's the greatest. That's the greatest on the earth. Okay? No nation ever existed greater than the nation that we had with King Solomon. Okay? Nowhere in history. Let me tell you, we was the richest and the smartest. Okay? And this is who you want to leave out. Wait, where we at? Yeah, let's bring it.
Page 96.
Now, this is interesting. Why? Because you spoke about this brother. What's the brother's name?
Who's that?
What is the
Mansa Musa?
Yeah. Is that who we bringing out, or are you talking about Mali?
Yeah, he was the king of Mali.
Okay, yeah. Mansa Musa. Okay, brothers and sisters. They showed a whole tutorial on this man, how he came through and he dropped so much money on the Egyptians. On who? The Egyptians, that it off through their economy. Who is this guy? He wasn't an Egyptian. So who was he? Let's find out.
The king of Mali, who is rendered credit for the establishment of the organization of an imperial system in Mali, was Sundiat. The year that the Mandingo state rose to imperial power is dated from 1240. In this year, a decisive battle was fought between the Mandingos and the people from Takar. Evidently, Almoravids from the medieval Mauritanian Sundiat defeated Samangaru and his people, who had captured the seat of the Hebrew kings of Ghana and imposed a tribute on them. Like other kings of the Western Sudan, Sundiat knew that the power was contingent on wealth.
Right, on wealth. Go ahead.
Most of the wealth was in trade, and most of the trade was in the hands of Muslims.
Right.
Consequently, he converted to Islam.
Do you see this, brothers and sisters? This is exactly what happened. This is why the Moors began to gain power. Why? Read the last part again.
And most of the trade was in the hands of Muslims. Consequently, he converted to Islam.
See that? So that's why we converted to Islam. One of the reasons. Also persecution, brothers. They was killing us. Go ahead.
Almost 100 years after the death of Sundiat, a powerful king emerged in Mali. His name was Mansa Musa.
His name was what?
Mansa Musa.
Go ahead.
During his lifetime, 1312 through 1337, his accomplishments transcended his predecessors. His empire extended from east to west, beginning at the Atlantic Ocean to northern modern Nigeria, and from north to south, reaching almost from central Mauritania and extending to the borders of modern Ghana and the Ivory Coast.
Right.
Page 97. During the lifetime of Mansa Musa, commerce increased on a large scale. The merchants of Mali established relay stations throughout the empire at important centers.
Right.
These enterprises reached the forest countries south of the Senegal and the Niger rivers. Before the time of Mansa Musa, the city of Timbuktu was founded in the latter part of the 11th century.
Uh-oh. Okay. We're going to bring the heat now. Why? Because we established these countries. Timbuktu is what I'm talking about. Show them the cover of the book, please. From Babylon to Timbuktu. You need to get this book because it gives you your history, Israel. Bring it out.
Barth thinks that it was first a small marketplace for the inhabitants of the province of Rad. Mansa Musa is not only remembered for his pilgrimage,
right,
trade, and military accomplishments, but also for his public constructions. The king of Mali built a palace and several mosques in the celebrated city of Timbuktu.
Good.
At the extremities of the city of Timbuktu. These mosques were erected. The mosque of Gingerbur was located in the southwest, and the mosque of Sinkor was located in the northern quarter of the city. Mansa Musa was indeed a champion of Islamic religion and learning. This was the time that the city of Timbuktu and Guinea began to rise as scholastic cities.
Scholastic city meaning it means scholarly. Okay, go ahead.
Now we're going to page 104.
104 here.
Still in the Timbuktu. Many scholars call the inhabitants of North Africa Berbers, but I shall not do so. I do not like this word Berber, for of all it is not a native word of Africa, therefore it is misleading. The Greeks and Romans called the people of North Africa Berbers, which means it's going into it, which means barbarians. However, the people of this region have their own names. The unbiased Greek historian Herodotus, may honor be given unto him.
Right. So what it's saying here, let's move on to the next part. What it's saying here is that that they called the northern tribe, they called the tribes of Africa barbarians. Okay? They called the northern tribes barbarian. In order to justify any type of particular treatment that they wanted to put upon those people. Okay? But, like the book said, but these people have their own names. Okay?
Let's get this out.
Go ahead.
Because most of the history in the Western world has been distorted. The obvious reason is that he wants to attribute ancient advanced civilizations to the white race.
Did you hear that? The white race wants to attribute historical what?
Civilization to
historical civilizations to what?
To the white race.
There you go.
In order to perpetuate the philosophy of white supremacy.
White supremacists. Okay? And it's a sister on her that's dealing with this video named Frances West Repkins. I don't know how to butcher her name. Okay? But she with the keys to the colors. Okay? And that book is profound, and it speaks about white supremacy. Okay? But what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters, that this goes beyond white supremacy. Okay? This is a war that goes back to Jacob and Esau. And Esau's hatred towards his brother Jacob. That is the root of racism. The root of racism is not genetic survival. Genetic survival is not the root of racism. The root of racism is Jacob and Esau. Okay? And Esau's going to do whatever he can in his time of rule. Now let's remember, Esau was around for a lot of kingdoms, but he wasn't in rulership the whole time. Okay? But he was still surviving. He didn't get wiped out. So obviously it couldn't have been a concern of being genetically wiped out as being the reason that you go out and persecute other people. That can't be the reason. It got to be something more than that, brothers and sisters. And what it is, it goes back to this Bible. And they don't want to accept the Bible. Okay? People don't want to accept the Bible, but the Bible is the only true book on the earth. And that book belongs and is from the Hebrew Israelites. Okay? And that book states that Jacob and Esau had a promise against his brother that he would destroy his brother. And that is the root of racism. Bring it out, brother. What you got? Colin, read it, brother.
2 Timothy 3, verse 7. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
See that, brothers and sisters? Ever learning, but unable to come to the knowledge of the truth. You sitting there, you getting this book. You going into this history. You finding out about the Egyptians. You finding out about the Greeks. You finding out about the Romans. You finding out about the Orientals. But you don't know who you are. You are all over the place, but somebody say, listen, what's your nationality? You can't tell it. Read it again.
Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
So we're going to eliminate out. We're going to push all that garbage out the way, and we just want to deal with what the truth is. That's it. We want to deal what is the truth. And listen, the truth is what actually happened, brothers and sisters. That's what we want. We want to know what actually happened. We don't care about the consequences of it either. Okay? If it just so happens that I turn out to be a white man, okay, on the day of judgment, then I'm okay with that as long as the truth. Okay, that'd be a terrible thing. But long as the truth, that long as the truth stands. Okay? What you got?
Back in the Timbuktu, page 122.
Bring it out, brother.
It is obvious to the researchers that after the breakup of the Hebrew kingdoms of Ghana, Kamanara, and Lamalam, the black Jews migrated to migrate regions of the interior and the coast. Then these Hebrews came under the pressure of Muslim propaganda.
See that? He came under the pressure of Muslim propaganda. Why? Because there was Jews. Read.
And pagan influences, resulting in what is known as cultural diffusion.
Cultural diffusion. Now this is deep. You really need to examine this. Read.
If you recall what Salah said, many Jews became Muslims but still retained their Jewish origin. Wilson also informs us that the northern Ghanaian, there is a conglomerate of Judaism and paganism combined, and in southern Ghanaian, there is a combination of Judaism, paganism, and some traces of Christianity.
See that? And this is what we have here in America. Just a big crock pot full of all type of stuff mixed up together. But the reason, but it's little truth in all of it. Why? Because it all stems from the children of Israel. It all stems from the real Jews, the Bible. As long as it stems from there, okay, then you can see that these people were doing this for a reason. Why? Because of persecution. They're trying to survive. Okay? Let me get Deuteronomy. Let me get Deuteronomy 28, where it says the curses will pursue you and overtake thee. Okay. Finish read.
In northern Ghanaian, the Portuguese Ghanaian, Judaism is more highly practiced. Some of the outstanding rites are purification, the observance of the new moons, and designated periods.
Break it out, bro.
And designated period of the weeping of the dead, during which time they wear sackcloth and ashes, bloody animal sacrifices, with the careful sprinkling of blood upon the doorposts and the altars, the division of the tribes into different families, frequently into 12 parts, the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right. Because see what's going on here, like I was saying, that it was a mixture of a conglomerate, and they was trying to hide themselves. Why was they trying to hide themselves? We're going to go to Deuteronomy and bring it out real quick. Bring it out, brother.
This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee,
Right.
and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee.
So this is the pursuing and overtaking. This what we're reading in the Babylon of Timbuktu is what happened. Read.
And overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
See that? Read.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
See, all this stems from keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They much rather go into Egyptology or go into something that's simple and easy, that's don't require that much of them. But see, this book requires a lot of it. Okay? And only the righteous were going to get it. Bring that, brother.
It stands to good reason that if the ancestors observed these Hebrew rites,
Right.
they were surely Hebrews. It is written, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Right.
That the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance.
Right. And it said that where? That's in the Bible in Psalms 83. Okay? Psalms 83.
Con.
Find it and read it. Go ahead.
Like the black Jews in America, some of the Jews of Ghanaian don't remember their original nationality.
Read that last part again.
Like the black Jews in America, some of the Jews of Ghanaian don't remember their original nationality.
Like the black Jews in America. Listen, brothers and sisters, that's you. Okay? That's you. Like you don't remember, they didn't remember during this time either. When they was dealing with Islam, they was dealing with pagan customs. They didn't realize it then either. Why? Because it was been a certain level of persecution that went on. Read what you got, brother.
Psalms 83:3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
Uh-huh.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Right.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
See that? So we're bringing it out. We're bringing it out, okay? That's it on that. Go ahead and turn the video.
Okay. Because see, the brother mentioned by name. This brother actually said the Ashanti. We're going to go into the book of Hebrewism in Western Africa. Show them the cover of that book. We're going to go into Hebrewism in Western Africa, brothers and sisters. Okay? And we're actually going to pull out the Ashanti and come to find out the Ashanti are Hebrew Israelites.
That's
okay?
right.
So the customs, of course, they're going to have the customs of the Israelites. You telling us to bring our 12 tribes of Israel, well, we bring them. Okay? And come to find out the Ashanti stem from these same people. That's why you're going to see the parallels that you find in that, brother. The Ashanti didn't come first. Israel came first.
That's right.
Okay? Let's go ahead and bring this out, man.
Hebrewism in West Africa, chapter 1.
Go ahead.
The Ashantis of West Africa.
Right?
Ashantis are the most civil and well-bred people that I have seen in Africa.
Well, now, where do they get that from? You have to understand, there's another parallel because Babylon Timbuktu mentioned about how the Israelites assimilated the other nations that was around them and influenced them to follow their way. Okay, why? And because they had an understanding that stems all the way back to Israel. Okay, and this is evidence. The one problem we have with this DVD is you don't mention the children of Israel. When we was there, we're in Africa. We're going to bring it out. Let's hear about the connection. Go ahead.
And the purest of British Council in the Ashanti 1820
Uh-huh.
remarked that they professed never to appeal to the sword while a path lay open for negotiations,
Right.
nor to violate their word, and he stated that their Muslim neighbors corroborated this assertion.
See that? So we have to understand there was a difference between Arabs and these people, the Ashanti. Go ahead.
Who then are these Ashanti who have murdered such unstated praise, even
Merited.
from
Who have unmerited.
understand,
Okay, go ahead.
praise, even from those whom they had successfully opposed?
Right, read it again from the top.
Who then are these Ashanti?
So we asking you, brother, who then are the Ashanti? How did they come to this understanding that they had? Go ahead.
who had merited such instinctive praise, even from those whom they had successfully opposed
Right.
for nearly 100 years,
Right.
before being finally subjected at the beginning of the present century.
Right.
Without adducing any proof, Andre Arsene positively asserts in connection with the Arab invasion of Africa.
With the what?
With the Arab invasion of Africa.
So if these people invaded us or invaded the Ashanti or the lands of Africa, why would you be a Muslim now? That's okay, because you're following the religion of your captors.
Right.
Okay? Your overlords. The people that have killed you. You're following their religion. So we don't hold to Islam either. Go ahead.
From Ethiopia.
From where?
From Ethiopia.
And we're going to pull out the information because there's a difference between the Israelites and the Ethiopians.
That's right.
We're going to bring out the history and we're going to show you the parallels, brothers and sisters. You can't clump everybody up together and put us all in one big pot and think just because we the ones that don't got no history in America, we should take part of the history of other people. No. We want the history of our forefathers, okay? Is that too much to ask?
That's right.
Read.
From Ethiopia,
Middle
Egypt,
right?
And Central Sudan descended the Ashanti.
Descended who?
Descended the Ashanti.
Go ahead.
And the tribes known as Bantu.
Right.
Whether or not there is ultimately any...
When it said it's descended, it's meaning that the Israelites came from these particular areas, okay, through the expulsion and through through areas being conquered and certain tribes being taken down at each time. We had to go into these other tribes. We had to go into these Hamitic tribes to hide ourselves. They was trying to kill us. So they went into Egypt, they went into Ethiopia, and they went into those other places. And then they came out of those places and became Ashanti, but keeping the rituals and the traditions of their forefathers, not the rituals and traditions of the Ethiopians or the Egyptians. No. Okay? The reason that they was different from those people was because they kept the customs of their forefathers, even though they were living in those lands. It's very simple. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When the Muslim invasion of Western Europe was stinged, and the Christians reasserted their superiority in Spain.
The who?
And the Christians reasserted their superiority in Spain.
Right.
The Moors.
The who?
The Moors.
Go ahead.
Turned the tide of conquest towards Central Africa.
See that? So the Moors, we know, and the reason that you don't call the Moors Arabs or you don't call the Moors African was because they was different from those people. Those people were Israelites that was practicing Islam. Okay? Through conquest. We found that out when we found out about Mansa Musa, who made a pilgrimage to Mecca because he was under the influence of Muslims. Why? Because the Islam was in control of the trade area once that the Israelites controlled. But since the Heavenly Father commanded that we be taken down, okay, in Matthew 24, we're supposed to flee into the mountains and go into Africa, okay, and through time, as time went on, we find out that through persecution we was trying to hide ourselves, and these books tell us this information, brothers and sisters. We have another book called Nature Knows No Color Line. It also speaks about the Moors. And these books are made by different authors, but they're saying the same thing, and they're pulling from a lot of the same sources, brothers and sisters. We got to examine this. Read.
Korah, or Niger, established their seat.
Niger. Now we know that Paul was called Niger in the Bible. Right? Go ahead.
Or Niger established their seat of empire at Timbuktu.
At what?
Timbuktu.
See, this is all the same history, brothers and sisters. Show them the cover of the Babylon of Timbuktu. This is Babylon of Timbuktu. But we're reading out of the book Hebrewism in Western Africa, brothers and sisters, and it's saying the same thing. Through persecution, the Israelites have lost their identity. And even at this time, they didn't know that they was Israelites. It's going to tell you that. Read.
They advanced gradually to the Kong Mountains, pushing before them the aboriginal race of South Africa, or of Central Africa.
Right.
And having driven them into the low-lying countries between the Kong Mountains.
Having driven them, why? Through conquest through conquest and conquering. Brothers and sisters, go ahead.
And the sea, the tide of Mohammedan conquest, expanded itself in establishing the kingdom of Gamut. The native tribes which occupy the countries now known as Ashanti and the protected territory seem then to have been known as Ashanti, Fanti, a king.
Known as what, brother?
Ashanti.
Ashanti. Go ahead.
Fanti, Akin, Hassan,
right?
Akuma, and Dinkira. However, in thus fixing the date of the Ashanti migration from the north, Sir John is evidently in error. The Moorish conquest of Timbuktu.
The what?
the Moorish conquest of Timbuktu
Go ahead.
took place about the year 1519, at the time when the Ashanti, without a doubt, had already been well established back of the Gold Coast.
Thank you, brother. So what we're saying without a shadow of a doubt is the Ashanti are the Hebrew Israelites. Watch this. We got more.
You want to bring out that picture?
Yeah, go ahead and show them that. Show them this picture, man. Where's that scripture about? Oh, here right here. Okay, you see that picture, brothers and sisters? These are black people that this DVD that we're talking about is calling African. But they're not African. These are Hebrew Israelites, brothers and sisters, proving that we was there, and we need to acknowledge these people's existence in Africa. That's good, brother. Yeah. Now, we're going to prove out of the Bible, because it says something about Niger. Read that again about Niger. And then I want you to read right here, Acts 13:1. Watch this, brothers and sisters.
Korah, or Niger,
What?
Niger,
Go ahead.
established their seat of the empire at Timbuktu.
Now let's see this. Let's make the connection in the Bible. Read what you got. Call it and read it.
This is Acts 13:1.
Uh-huh.
Now there were in the church that was the Antioch certain prophets and teachers,
Right.
as Barnabas
Right.
and Simeon, that was called Niger.
See that, brothers and sisters? Called what?
Called Niger.
Spell Niger.
Niger.
Spell yours.
Niger, Niger.
See that, brothers and sisters? So we're breaking the parallels to show you that the Hebrew Israelites in the Bible were people of color, and we fled into Africa. And the reason that they did not mention this information in this DVD is because Psalms 83. Because the Hamites and the Ishmaelites and the Edomites are all against us, brothers and sisters. Those that are in the western parts of North, Central, and South America. We are the Hebrew Israelites, okay? And we're letting you know that we're putting this in the forefront, okay? Because truth will stand in the end. What you got, brother?
In chapter 5, the lost tribes of Israel.
Go ahead.
And Hebrewism in West Africa.
Go ahead.
If we are to establish historical contact between the Hebrews and the parent stock of the Ashanti.
Whoa, and the parent stock of who?
Of the Ashanti.
Listen, brothers and sisters, go ahead.
It now becomes necessary to check up every possible channel by which diffusion between the two groups was possible.
Right, read.
At the very outset, two main lines of inquiry present themselves on an account of the duality of the divided kingdom of Israel.
Right.
And yet, strictly speaking, it is only with the Judeans that we have to deal. Right.
Why? Because the northern tribes was already scattered before 70 AD, brothers and sisters. And it's letting you know that the Ashanti stem from those that fled from 70 AD. That fled from Judea. Read.
Since the destruction of the northern tribes was definite and complete.
Right. Already done with. Go ahead.
However, as Professor Dixon says,
come on,
a few generations ago, cultural parallels between the customs and beliefs of Aboriginal peoples and those of the Hebrews, as recorded in the Bible, were explained in accordance with the theories of the times, as the degenerate survivals of ancient Shemitic cultures.
Right, ancient Shemitic, not Hamitic. Read that again.
As the degenerate survivals of ancient Shemitic culture.
Go ahead.
Diffused by the lost 10 tribes of Israel.
Right. So listen, this is an issue that it's just not generated now, brothers and sisters. This has been an onslaught, an ongoing effort to keep the children of Israel from this information. But not anymore. We're going to bring this information out, brothers and sisters. We're going to bring it out. Go ahead.
Traces of these extremely exclusive wanderers were found in every quarter of the globe,
Right.
and Bushmen and Eskimo, Australian, and American Indian were alike credited with being their descendants.
Oh, so see, that's right. The native, read it again.
And Bushmen and Eskimo,
Bushmen, which are the people in Australia. Go ahead.
Australian,
Oh, go ahead.
and American Indian
Right.
were alike credited with being their descendants.
Why? Because the ones in Australia are from the tribe of Gad. The ones in Australia are from the tribe of Reuben, Salaki. But the Native Americans are from the tribe of Gad. We have this information and we have this history. The so-called Negroes are from the tribe of Judah. Okay? So all the Israelites are not black. We are all shades of brown. Go ahead.
Okay. And although Professor Dixon adds, the ghosts of the lost tribes had long since been laid, except perhaps for some whose judgment is ruled by their imagination, it may be well to introduce here a short chapter on the subject to clarify our own position and to definitely eliminate all questions of any contact between the Ashanti and the northern kingdom of Israel.
Now, we have to understand something, brothers and sisters. We were scattered in the four corners of the earth. Read this part here.
Okay. Jewish ancestry,
Right?
it runs as follows.
Go ahead.
Jews in every part of the world,
Right?
and the Jews in Palestine, most of all, will be interested in the controversy just arose by the visit of the king and queen of Afghanistan to England
Right.
over the so-called Jewish origin.
Over the what?
The so-called Jewish origin
Right.
of the Afghan people. Eagerness to claim Hebrew descent has been shown during the past quarter of a century in striking ways.
Right.
Here and there in China, and to be found small colonies whose members do not hesitate to look back to their Jewish ancestry.
Right. And that's what we need to do. We need to look back to our Jewish ancestors. Even though we're not Jewish, we need to look back to the ancestors of our forefathers. The Bible tells you that in Job. Okay? Job 8:8. Let me get that real quick. Job 8:8. Salaki, give me 1 second, brothers and sisters. All right, here we go. Bring it out.
Job 8, verse 8.
Go ahead.
For inquire, I pray thee,
This is the Bible, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
See that, brothers and sisters? So we need to prepare ourselves to the search of our fathers. Now read the last part again.
Here and there in China, and to be found small colonies whose members do not hesitate to look back to their Jewish ancestry.
Right. So now pick up back where we are. I wanted to show you the parallel that these people have been looking back to their ancestors. We need to do the same, brothers and sisters. Not picking up the ancestries of other people. We need to know who's our ancestors. Okay? Go ahead.
Professor Rawlinson of Oxford.
Of what?
Of Oxford.
So this ain't no backyard study, okay? From Oxford. Go ahead.
In assailing the position of those who would derive the Anglo-Saxon race from the lost tribes of Israel.
Trying to say the Anglo-Saxons are well, actually the original Anglo-Saxons, okay? Not these Caucasians. Go ahead.
Ridicules the attempt and declares that these much lost tribes have been found 100 times by 100 different travelers and in 100 different locations.
Right.
And goes on to endorse the statement of Kitto, there is scarcely any human race so abject, forlorn, and dwelling located anywhere between the Chinese and American Indians, who have not been stated to be the 10 tribes.
Right, go ahead.
Toward the middle of the last century, our Israelitish origin by John Wilson revived an old controversy in an effort to derive the Anglo-Saxon race from the 10 tribes of Israel that had come to be known in history as the Lost Tribes.
Right.
English Nation with the Lost House of Israel by Edward Hine, followed by
Right, these are writings that people put together about the Israelites. Go ahead.
followed by subsequent brochures, Flashes of Light and Anglo-Saxon Riddles.
Right.
Okay. That a person of such distinction should take notice of the theory, even to assail it, gave the question the needed publicity of the controversy was well underway.
Right. What controversy? The controversy. Who are the Israelites? That controversy. Go ahead.
Edward Hine, in his reply to Canon Rawlinson, denies having ever read more than a few extracts from the earlier book of Wilson, despite the fact that the striking similarity of treatment had been pointed out.
Right.
Others, besides the Oxford professor, had ventured to take exceptions to his attempt Hebraization of the Anglo-Saxon stock.
Right.
Mr. Hine acknowledges the attention of some few of them, but pushes them all aside with a single bold stroke of the pen.
Showing you that they pick and choose the history that they want to deal with. That's what this is saying. Go ahead.
Not one objection has foothold as yet.
Right.
And I believe never can have.
Why? Because they are in control of information. Go ahead.
The identity of our nation with Israel is purely God's work.
Right. Purely who?
God's work.
Go ahead.
And no man has power to destroy it.
See that? So we're going to come to the forefront. Okay? You can't keep us down because the Heavenly Father promised to raise us again. Read.
The decision now became general, and the literature on the subject is extensive. Space will permit only a few random comments in passing. Thus, one writer finds in this theory, facetiously, we suspect the explanation of how despite many malicious and ambitions of British are usually crowned with success, why should so small a country of British, he asks,
Watch this, brothers and sisters,
possesses such great influence over the world,
right,
as she does, and be successful in all her wars, notwithstanding that she continually makes the most palpable blunders. We have many faults, socially, nationally, and individually, to confess and bemoan.
Right.
Yet for all that, it will be admitted that we are a great nation.
Right.
What is the secret of British greatness?
What is the secret of British greatness? Read.
If it is proved,
listen.
If it is proved that the British are Israelites.
It is proved that the British are Israelites, the original British. Okay. Established by who? King James, a black man from the tribe of Yehuda. Okay.
Right here.
There you go. A black man, okay? King James.
The whole history.
Help him out, so.
Gotcha.
The whole history of England will be understood with a right point of view, and that is that God's dealing with her, being Israel,
right,
shown forth that He is true, faithful, and covenant keeping. This is the true secret of English greatness, and not any inherited goodness that rests in her or in her people.
There you go. There you go. Showing that all that was brought about to show the greatness of the Heavenly Father, to keep His people established, so King James could finish the Bible, and that the Heavenly Father could talk to His people in another tongue, as the Bible says. And then after he done that, what happened to the kingdom? It was destroyed and taken over by the Edomites. Go ahead.
I'm going to page 82.
Call and read it.
Page 182.
Uh-huh.
Hebrewism in West Africa.
Go ahead.
The word Philatia.
Uh-oh, we're talking about the Philastian Jews now.
Itself means exile.
Right.
According to Job the thought, who calls them Philatians.
Right.
And many with reason derive them from exiles, possibly after the destruction of the northern kingdom, but more probably exiles from Judea after the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans.
Do you hear that, brothers and sisters? Read that last part again. It was probably, the Philatians was probably what?
Exiles from Judea after the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans.
After the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. And when did this happen? 70 AD. Go ahead.
Of Joseph Halaby,
right,
who visited them in 1868, and who thinks that the Jewish element of the Philatians proceeds especially from the Hammadians, captured in Ethiopia by the king Caleb, conqueror of Dunawas, taking refuge in the mountains beyond the Takus. They converted a part of the Yangus, and through intermixtures with them produced the Philatians type.
There you go. But we know that it spawned from Israel. Go ahead.
Philatians are descendants of Jews.
Read it again.
Philatians are descendants of Jews.
Read it again.
Philatians are descendants of Jews.
Go ahead.
Who settled in Egypt after the first exile.
See that, brother?
587 BCE.
Go ahead.
Whence they penetrated into the Sudan and into interior parts of Abyssinia.
Right.
In the 5th century of the present era, their number was augmented by captive Jews that were led away from southern Arabia following the Assyrian War in that peninsula.
And the Bible says they shall pursue you and overtake you. Give me that scripture, man. It's in Deuteronomy 28, 34. Right there, 45. Break it out, brother. Call and read.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 45.
Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
Go ahead.
And shall persuade thee.
Pursue thee.
Right.
See, this is what we're trying to bring forth. Read it again.
Moreover,
uh-huh,
all these curses shall come upon thee.
Right.
And shall pursue thee.
Pursue thee, which means going to chase you down. Read that last part again.
Philatians are descendants of Jews who settled in Egypt after the first exile.
Right. Captive Jews.
Oh, okay. In the 5th century
uh-huh,
of the present era, their number was augmented by captive Jews that were led away from southern Arabia following the Assyrian wars in that peninsula.
Read yours again.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
See that, brothers and sisters? Read on.
And shall pursue thee.
And what?
And shall pursue thee.
Go ahead.
And overtake thee.
Go ahead and read on.
The new arrivals, together with many converts of Judaism and the old residents, fused into one community,
right,
and forming a small state,
right,
led an independent existence for many centuries.
Right.
But whatever the real explanation of their origin may be, this much is certain, that the anthropologists unequivocally classified them as Jews.
As what?
Classified them as Jews.
Go ahead.
And Paracon expresses the opinion that the religion of the Philatians is pure Musayim, Messianism, based upon the Ethiopian version of the Pentateuch, but modified by the fact that
Mosaism. Right?
yes,
Mosaism.
is pure Mosaism based upon the Ethiopian version of the Pentateuch.
Right. So, watch this, brothers and sisters. I want you to understand something. Though this is proving that the Philossians, so-called Philossians, are actually Israelites. And what does it say right there? Read it again. Get unequivocally.
Up there.
Yeah, go back up.
That the anthropologists unequivocally classified them as Jews.
Right. Now drop back down to Mosaic.
Is the religion of the Philossians is pure Mosaicism,
Right.
based upon the Ethiopian version of the Pentateuch,
Listen. Go ahead.
but modified by the fact that they are ignorant of the Hebrew language.
See that, brothers and sisters? And that's one thing that, because, you found out, at that time, if you was found out to be reading Hebrew, they would kill you, man. They was going away from their customs for self-preservation. That's why they was doing it. They went away from their language for self-preservation so their children wouldn't be killed. Go ahead.
Indeed, they appeared never to have known the Hebrew text of the Bible.
Right. And see, not knowing this Hebrew text, it leaves a certain level of disconnect of your identity. It leaves pieces out. Read.
They have no Hebrew books at all, despite the exaggerated reports of some scholars.
Right. See that? So, we didn't have that knowledge. But now the Bible says knowledge shall increase in the end times. Okay? And so this is how we're able to bring forth on this understanding. Now we're going to show another parallel. We're going to pick up from Babylon at Timbuktu and show another parallel. Yeah. No, the other part first.
Babylon Timbuktu, page 39. The present Philossians, the black Jews of Ethiopia, claim descent from those.
Read that again. I want y'all to hear this, brothers and sisters.
The present Philossians, the black
Now we
Jews.
we were just reading about the Philossians and Hebrewism in Western Africa. Now we're picking up with another parallel in Babylon and Timbuktu. Read.
The present Philossians,
the
black Jews of Ethiopia.
The black Jews of Ethiopia, brothers and sisters. And guess what? They're still there. Read.
Claim descent from those Jews who returned from Jerusalem with Solomon's son, Menelik.
Go ahead.
Moreover, the present emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, claims descent from King Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, and Menelik the First.
Right, which we do not agree with. Okay? We do not agree with that. Drop down to the other part there.
These people were the subjects of the Queen of Ethiopia.
Why do I say we don't agree with it? Because if you go into the story of Queen of Sheba in the Bible, it never mentions that Solomon had sex with this woman. Matter of fact, this woman was a queen. The only way you can be a queen is if you have a king, okay? Ain't no queens running around here without kings, okay? So that means she's married. And Solomon had plenty of wives. He didn't need to just be out here hoeing, okay? So we don't agree with Haile Selassie being a descendant of Solomon because there's no biblical proof proving that he and that the Queen of Sheba and Solomon had intercourse, okay? So we're waiting on that proof if you want to bring it forth.
It says claims.
It says claims. Go ahead.
These people were the subjects of the Queen of Ethiopia.
Right.
They were pagans.
Listen, I want you to understand and look at the parallels. You're calling everybody African in this video, but we're not African. Why? Because we don't hold to the customs of the Egyptians or the Ethiopians. We already read to you about the customs of the Egyptians. Now let's see what the Ethiopians was dealing with and see if the Israelites was picking up on their custom. Go ahead.
They were pagans.
They were what?
Pagans. Then converted to Judaism during the time of the construction of the first temple. And they were Jews from that time to the year 622 AD.
Right.
As the tradition says. when they became Muslims by the sword of Muhammad.
By what?
By the sword of Muhammad.
So I was hearing a debate, and you know, they was trying to say that Muhammad never used the sword or never enforced Islam on people with the sword. Read that again.
When they became Muslims by the sword of Muhammad.
By the sword of who?
Muhammad.
Okay, so showing that they conquered people and forced them into Islam purposely. Why? Psalms 83. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be in no more remembrance. Okay? Read.
Before introduction of the three influential religions in Arabia.
Right.
Judaism.
What?
Judaism.
Go ahead.
Christianity.
Right.
And Mohammedanism.
See that? So these are what you would call the Shemitic or the faiths of Abraham. Okay? But we know it's only one faith. The faith of the Israelites. Because the promise went to Jacob, and it went from Jacob to his 12 sons. Okay? Not one son, but all 12. Go ahead.
The Arabs worship the stars, idols, and the cobblestone.
They did what?
Worship the stars, idols, and the cobblestone.
Go ahead. And we know that the Bible speaks against that. We're not supposed to worship any stone or any object. Okay? So there's no way that we can be in agreement with what the Ethiopians are doing. Go ahead.
Thousands of Jews migrated to Egypt and Arabia when the Roman general Titus destroyed the city of Jerusalem.
Woo!
70 AD.
When?
70 AD.
See that, brothers and sisters? So the information and the history that we're speaking on is all written down. Okay, they say you want to hide something from a black man, you write it in the book. Well, not anymore. Okay, we are the children of Israel, and we're going to go into the research, and we challenge anyone. Okay, and we will go into any debate that you want to go into. Okay, because truth will stand in the end. We are the children of Israel. Okay, and since you didn't bring it forth in this documentary, we charge you. Okay, to prove us wrong. You speaking of the Ashanti, you're speaking of our people. You're speaking of the voodoo. You're speaking the voodoo of Haiti. You're speaking of our people. Those are the Levites. Okay? We are the children of Israel, and we demand respect. We demand acknowledgement. Okay? And if you won't give it to us, it doesn't make us any bit of difference. You know why? Because when Christ comes, we're going to get all that belongs to us.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
We are the brothers of the house of the redeemed servant, and we're going to continue this work. And anybody that has a refute or rebuttal to this video, you let us know, and we're ready.
That's
okay?
right.
We're ready. We want to say shalom to all the elders of Israel. Okay? Keep up the good work. And all the brothers out here that's following through in the name of Yahushua, Hamashiach Yahushua. Colossians 3:17. Shalom. Is that me?
You go to Joseph, man.
Aya bolo daw dusuka ka jeni nga fota ye fɛn o fɛn y'aw diya n'o ye furu nafolo ko ye ani lajɛli fɛn n b'o bɛɛ lajɛlen d'aw ma nka n b'aw deli a ye muso in diyan furu la o tɛ kɛ a fɔra ko kanana dangalen don
nin ye jɔn de kumakan ye
ne de kan don I denkɛ yuda
yuda n dencɛ
k'i den di cɛ ma cɛ min ma boloko o ye kuma surukɔba de ye anw fɛ yan an t'an dɔgɔmuso di cɛ bolokobali ma
dencɛ fɔlɔ olu bɛɛ ye min fɔ ti se ka fɛn fara o kan ti se ka fɛn bɔ a la o ma damina ne tile la o ma damina n fa tile la o kan bi an fa ibrahima ka matigi ni n ka lu cɛ n bɛna sɔn furu nin ma ko kelen de kan wajibi f'a ka kɛ I n'a fɔ anw a ka cɛw bɛɛ bi sigi nɛgɛ kɔrɔ n'o kɛra an bi an denmusow d'a ma furu la an fana b'a denmusow ta furu la an bi jɛ ka sigi ka kɛ jama kelen ye.
bolokoliko min fɔra n'aw ma sɔn o ma o b'a yira k'aw nakun tɛ furumuso ye o la a bɛ fɔ k'i ye jɛnɛya kɛ yuda dɔgɔmuso la. ne urupɛ dɔgɔmuso, ne simeon dɔgɔmuso, ne levi dɔgɔmuso, ne dan dɔgɔmuso, ne neftali dɔgɔmuso, ne asher dɔgɔmuso,
ne isakar dɔgɔmuso,
ne zabulon dɔgɔmuso,
ne shela tɛnɛmuso,
ne benyamin kɔrɔmuso.
n den man di yusuf balimamuso